right now, I think the biggest priority is, of course, securing, this crime scene area and also securing this facility. We just saw what looked to be a contractor making its way over to the Pottawattamie County Jail to fix or to restore or obviously put a new door, what looks to be a garage door over there, some sort of back entrance. We're thinking that's perhaps how the transport vehicle, is its access point right there. And right now, a lot of investigators are just looking through the area, looking for evidence. Obviously, there's crime tape up there. Very heavy police presence. I say with each increasing 30 minutes, we're seeing more and more deputies, more and more officers, those in unmarked cars. I mentioned earlier that the Iowa DCI's out here Division of Criminal Investigation, as part of protocol, whenever an officer involved shooting or a deputy involved shooting in this case, they make their way here. I know right now there's going to be an internal investigation of some sort leading up to how this all unfolded, but we're going into about 90 minutes, a bit past 90 minutes actually, since this all unfolded. But this seemed to be the catalyst as far as leading into this wild chase in and out of Council Bluffs and then leading into the Omaha area where by I-480 and coming where Jake had been reporting from, or where the crash had occurred over there, but not too far from 16th and Nash, which is where I'm at, 25th and Nash. There was another perimeter set up there. They were thinking perhaps they had seen or heard reports of an inmate in that area, and then shortly after they had collapsed it down, they had broken it down when they heard of a pursuit leading into the Omaha area. But still a very active investigation. As I mentioned, securing the crime scene is important, but also securing the facility and making sure obviously that the facility is under control, that the staff are safe, that the inmates are safe as well, Emily.
Great information there. Shantae Passmore live from the Pottawattamie County Jail, where everything unfolded around 11 a.m. We're going to get out to Lindsay Thies. Reporter Lindsay Thies is live near Avenue H in 25th Street. We're told this may have been where the suspect dumped whatever vehicle he was from the jail. Kind of what could you tell us about this scene?
Yeah, Emily, this is kind of one of those middle scenes in between where we just saw Shantae Passmore and then where Jake is out live in Omaha. I'm going to take a step out of the way because this white van behind me is really what investigators seem to be focusing on at this perimeter. That van, and this scene is out at Avenue I and 25th. In Council Bluffs. As far as you can see the police tape, a couple of investigators out kind of examining that scene. And from what we've seen around here in the neighborhood, officers are talking to folks that are coming out. Now, whether that's because they maybe had seen or had heard something, or if they just have questions, because definitely a lot of excitement going on this morning for a normally quiet Monday morning in a neighborhood here in Council Bluffs. But we'll continue to stay on this investigation. You can see a couple of officers kind of going door to door. It seems like there is, again, that white van seems to be what they're very interested in over here at 25th and I. For now, we're reporting live in Council Bluffs. I'll send it back to you.
Good info there, Lindsay. We want to show you a timeline of events and kind of a map. Right there, you're seeing a view of the Pottawattamie County Jail. You're in an aerial view. That's where everything happened around 11 a.m. Reports that a 22-year-old inmate shot at least one deputy. 3 people in total were injured. We do not know the injuries of the other 2. That's where everything happened around 11 o'clock. As we just saw, Lindsay Thies came to us. As you're looking at, this is a map of Avenue GH area and 25th Street. That's where Lindsay Thies was live. Supposedly, the suspect drove some kind of transport van from the jail to this area, ditched this, and then that's when we're told that he may have carjacked a victim and took that victim. Somehow he took the victim into a black Nissan Altima into the area of 30th and Laurel over in the North Omaha area. We're told that's where he may have dropped off the victim. As you're seeing a look at 30th and Laurel, that all happened a little before 11:20. Around that time, that's when he was spotted by authorities here in the Omaha area around 11:23. Finally, they deployed stop sticks. We're told that the suspect may have been going upwards of 80 miles per hour down Cumming Street. We'll show you the area at I-480. You're looking at that. That's kind of the area where the suspect crashed the Nissan that he somehow got into from Pottawattamie County and came over into the Omaha metro area. That happened around 11:30. We are told that the 22-year-old suspect was taken into custody. We do not know his condition. Looks like there was just front end damage to that car. He had somehow driven into Omaha. Again, that all happened around 11:30. This is a picture, according to our media partners over at the Omaha World-Herald, Wesley Correa Carminati. He was sentenced today to 45 years in prison. That may be how he was in that transport van. We do not know all the details of that, but again, he was sentenced in the Pottawattamie County Courthouse today to 45 years. It was for the murder of Anthony Walker, 22-year-old Anthony Walker. He faced an attempted murder charge along with robbery charges and other charges. Again, he was sentenced to 45 years in prison today. This is the suspect in all of this. We're going to go back out live to senior reporter Jake Wazakowski. He has more details for us from the area of I-480 and Cummings Street. Jake, kind of what could you tell us about this crash scene there?
Well, Emily, Omaha police continue to investigate the crash. I'll get out of the way. We can go ahead and push in there. Dr. Jessica Ritchie. As you can see, crash investigators setting up, trying to figure out exactly how the crash happened. We did see the vehicle a little bit ago. It was a black Nissan. It was facing more or less the guardrail, the barrier on that 480 on-ramp going either east or south. It had come to a stop. Police taking the one person in the vehicle into custody probably at least right about an hour ago at this point. They still have Cummings Street pretty much blocked off from 27th all the way up to the Roberts plant at about 29th or so. Again, the black Nissan reportedly carjacked here in Omaha. We had a police officer just yelling at somebody trying to walk through underneath the overpass here, so I had to stop and catch my thought here for a minute. But again, the vehicle reportedly carjacked, could have reached up to 80 miles an hour in speeds, heading through North Omaha and parts of Midtown. Stop sticks reportedly put down around 40th Street as well, and then the vehicle coming to rest about a mile away on the actual on-ramp. We're seeing a number of the police officers have started to leave, except for the traffic accident recreators, the investigators here. Then they'll have to bring out the tow truck. But again, we saw them taking the suspect into custody right about an hour ago and taking him away to Providence Police Headquarters for questioning at that point, and then possibly after that being extradited back to Pottawattamie County. But again, the chase started in Pottawattamie County. As we were heading to a different scene, we saw Pot County sheriffs, with their sirens on, flying down the interstate, and this pursuit bringing a very heavy police presence, whether it be Omaha Police, Nebraska State Patrol, Carter Lake Police were here as well. So again, this right now is an accident investigation. That's about all that they are doing here, except for I did hear from one of the public information officers that they may be helping. They may be having one investigator go help with the officer involved shooting aspect of it as well, to help with Pottawattamie County on that. But for right now, from this scene, still an accident investigation scene, one vehicle involved, one person inside. That was the suspect, who was then taken into custody around 11:40-ish, 11:45-ish. We saw him taken away from the scene. But that's what's happening out here, Emily. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Jake, thank you very much. Jake Wazakowski reporting in 480 and Cumming. That's where the chase ended. This is the suspect that police currently have in custody, Wesley Correa Carminati, 22 years old, found guilty of attempted murder, 2 charges of second-degree robbery and voluntary manslaughter. It all stems back to March of 2016. He was involved in the fatal shooting death of Anthony Walker. He was to be sentenced today to 45 years in prison. During the chase, there are eyewitness reports of that particular car chase. I want to send it out of those.
We just a whole bunch of cops chasing this black car down Cummings, and we're wondering what was going on.
We didn't really know what happened. We were just sitting in the car, and then we look over and we hear sirens, and a black car comes flying down the street, and then 10 cops are chasing after it.
It was definitely an action movie kind of moment, that's for sure. It was it was just unreal. We saw at first we were like, oh, there's only 5 cops, must be nothing too big. Then, you know, the undercover started showing up, and it was like, well, what's going on here?
Okay, once again, the car chase all started with a jailbreak essentially out of the Pottawattamie County Jail. Wesley Correa Carminati now the main suspect. He's in custody, and we'll send it to Shante Passmore, the site of the Pottawattamie County Jail that started this entire thing, which started about 11 o'clock this morning. Shante, what do you see there now?
Matt, of course, we have full team coverage covering the story right now. Obviously, Linz is not too far from me. I'm here near 16th and Nash. We've got Jake on the other side of the Mighty Mo over there by 480 and I-480 and Cummings. And then, of course, Andrea Braswell by Nebraska Medicine trying to get an update condition on the deputy involved in here. But I want to step out of the way because this really jump-started this entire timeline, the start of this whole story, really. And if you look at that back door over there, you can see that it's busted through. It's definitely damaged over there. We believe that's how the transport vehicle, this is how this inmate was able to take it and leave the facility, leave this area. And right now securing the crime scene and obviously securing the facility is a main priority. We see a contractor on standby. It looks like he's waiting to get clearance so they can go over there and repair the door or go ahead and switch out that door over there. And this all started when we got unconfirmed reports of an active shooter situation, and then we had heard reports of a breakout of some sort near 16th and Nash. This is, of course, where the Pottawattamie County Jail is. And then not too far from here near 25th and Nash, or 25th and Avenue I, there was a report of perhaps the inmate being in that area. And that's where the carjacking, we're getting reports of hearing that was involved in that area. And then they had broken that down. They had collapsed that area when they heard of a pursuit leading into the Omaha area where Jake is at right now. But this is Pottawattamie County Sheriff's Office taking the lead. This is their domain, of course. Council Bluffs Police Department is helping them hand in hand. Iowa DCI has actually came out here on the scene maybe about 45 minutes ago. DCI stands for Division of Criminal Investigation, and that's typically protocol as far as when there's a deputy involved shooting, an officer involved shooting, and surely an internal investigation is underway already right now. Leading into protocol, we know that the inmate was, of course, in this vehicle being transported for sentencing, according to our content partners at the Omaha World Herald. But exactly how he was able to overcome the deputies involved in the situation, gain access, and just make a break and get out of the facility right now, that is a main priority for investigators as they try to see how this all unfolded here right now, Matt and Emily.
All right, Shante, thanks for that update. We definitely appreciate that. So obviously some sort of jail break right there coming out of the Pottawattamie County Jail. That's where it all started. About a half an hour later it ended in a wreck. That was by I-480 and Cumming. Right now we have Andrea Braswell, I believe.
A senior reporter, Jake Wazikowski, is actually live on the scene of that. Jake, what could you tell us?
Well, guys, the accident investigators continue out here. We've seen a number of the police officers start to leave, except for a few of the investigators sticking around to diagram exactly what happened, how the car ended up, hitting that guardrail and coming to the final resting spot. Only about 7 or 8 police cruisers out here at this point. They do still have a large portion of Cumming Street blocked off completely under the underpass on coming to I-480 going either south or eastbound. Anybody coming north getting off at Cumming is being diverted to the east. Nobody can come west on coming from 27th on, and then on the other side, pretty much from Roberts on east, they have it blocked off as well. I think 30th is open for traffic right now as well. But again, accident investigation still going on here. They're waiting for the tow truck to come in once they're done completely diagramming what happened, but we heard speeds up to 80 miles an hour during this chase. Stop sticks had to be put down probably about a mile away, and then the vehicle ultimately stopping on I-480 on-ramp east to southbound from Cumming. Police quickly take the suspect into custody. One person was in that black Nissan at the time, and that happened more than about an hour ago at this point. So again, still just investigators out here figuring out documenting that accident, getting ready to write their report, and that's about what they have, because that's what happened here on the Douglas County side of the river.
Good info there. Senior reporter Jake Wazakowski at the scene of where all of this ended around 11:30. Kind of just a timeline of events for you. Around 11 o'clock, we're told that a suspect somehow broke out of the Pottawattamie County Jail, and in doing so, a deputy was injured. 2 others were hurt. 1 deputy at least in critical condition. 2 other people in fair condition at Nebraska Medicine. The deputy in critical condition was taken to Creighton. We will get some condition updates coming up in a little bit. All of that happened around 11 a.m. Shortly after, Lindsay Thies was live at the scene near 25th and H, where the jail transport van was then ditched. We're told that the suspect may have carjacked someone in a black Nissan. That car was then driven into the Omaha metro area. We are told that that person, if we do have to show you kind of the scene, 30th and Laurel is where the victim was dropped off from that carjacking. The suspect then continued on around 11:23. He was spotted by authorities. They continued the chase there. They deployed numerous stop sticks and ways to stop this vehicle. Around 11:30, that's what Jake was telling us. He finally crashed after reports he may have been going 80 miles per hour down Cumming Street. Now I-480 and Cumming is where the crash of that Nissan happened. Again, we'll pull up a picture. According to our partners at the Omaha World-Herald, it's a 22-year-old man, Wesley Correa Carminati. He was sentenced today to 45 years in jail. That may be how he was in that transport van. They may have been taking him back from the Pottawattamie County Courthouse, because they are 2 separate places, the jail and the courthouse. Again, if you remember the story back in March of 2016, there was a warrant out for his arrest after 22-year-old Scott Walker was murdered in a botched robbery. This is one of those suspects. He was accused of attempted murder and first-degree robbery for the death of 22-year-old Scott Walker. That happened in March of 2016. This is according to our partners at the Omaha World-Herald. That is the suspect. Again, this is a aerial view to the Pottawattamie County Jail, where everything happened around 11 a.m. From there, the suspect was able, we're told, to drive the transport van to the area of Avenue G and North 25th Street. That's where Lindsay Thies was live from, actually talking to some neighbors. In her shot, you actually saw the transport van had been ditched there. We're told allegedly the suspect then carjacked a black Nissan sedan, drove that car into Omaha. We're told near 30th and Laurel, he actually allowed the victim to get out of the car. From there, that's when he was spotted by the authorities here in the Omaha jurisdiction. A chase ensued from there. We're told he may have been going upwards of 80 miles per hour on Cumming Street, going at a very high rate of speed. No other accidents occurred in the Omaha jurisdiction. We're told finally around 11:30, this is where the suspect wrecked and was taken into custody. We're going to go back out live. I was talking about the scene where this van was dropped off and is actually still on scene. Reporter Lindsay Thies is near North 25th Street into Avenue I/H area. Lindsay, what could you tell us about this?
Yeah, that's right, Emily. And a little bit ago, we were kind of out by Avenue H. We've moved around to give you a better visual of where we're at and of this transport van that seems to really be the focus of the scene here at Avenue I and 25th and Council Bluffs. You can see they're taking Council Bluffs Police Department officers are taking a variety of pictures. There's a lot of surveying equipment that is out right now, and this van that you're seeing on your screen right now is what really seems to be the object of interest here. From what we understand, this transport van was what the suspect had taken from the jail, and then here around this perimeter is where obviously it was dumped, and maybe a second carjacking may have happened. So again, I want to kind of show you a little bit wider out of what that scene looks like here with photographer Jeff Olson at Avenue I and North 25th Street in Council Bluffs. You can see the officers kind of to the left part of your screen there have some survey equipment. There's some that they've been packing up. There's other different cameras and things on tripods that they've been taking out and taking some pictures of, maybe measurements as well. But for now, this entire entire corner and intersection is blocked off. At Avenue I and North 25th Street and Council Bluffs. I just got done speaking with a neighbor who said that, she woke up and it was really quiet, and, next thing she knew, there were state trooper cars for the state of Iowa coming down her neighborhood, as well as several Pot County, not just Pot County state troopers, but Council Bluffs police officers. They were told to stay inside, keep their doors locked, that there was someone that was armed and dangerous in the area, and they have obviously since been given the all clear. But definitely quite a little commotion. I'm told this is a very quiet neighborhood. We've seen a lot of kind of seniors and people out and about in this neighborhood, so it seems to be a pretty, older established neighborhood, very quiet. Definitely not expecting something like this on a Monday morning. Check back in with us in a little bit and we'll let you know what else is going out here at Avenue I and North 25th Street at this scene, where again, Council Bluffs Police Department are really focusing on that white transport van and how this plays a part into their investigation. We'll send it back to you, Emily.
Lindsay, thank you very much. Obviously, Mayor Jean Stothert, very aware of the situation. She tweeted out, "Please join me in prayer for the sheriff's deputies involved in the shooting this morning in Council Bluffs." And that was just about 12 minutes ago. So Mayor Stothert, certainly aware of the situation, and sending out, of course, their prayers for the injured sheriff's deputies. Up to 3 deputies injured, 1 in critical condition in Creighton with a gunshot wound, we believe, to the neck. 2 others now in fair condition, being treated at Nebraska Medicine. So that's the current situation. No other victims or injuries reported at this particular time. There is a suspect in custody, Wesley Correa Carminati, 22 years old, found guilty of attempted murder, 2 charges of second-degree robbery and voluntary manslaughter. It was in the death related to Anthony Walker back in March of 2016. He was sentenced today to 45 years in prison. We believe there was a jailbreak earlier this morning, about 11 o'clock this morning, at the Pottawattamie County Jail. A chase ensued. Eventually, a carjacked victim was taken near North 25th and I. That person was then let off at about 30th and Laurel, picked up in pursuit by Omaha police, and a wreck. It was where it all sort of came to an end. I-480 coming at about 11:30. So a lot of action between about 11 and 11:30 this morning, and now the suspect is in custody. We go now live to Jake Wazikowski, who's at the site where the chase ended, I-480 at Cumming Street. Jake, what do you see there now?
Guys, the wreck was this was the only vehicle involved. That suspect that was taken into custody was the only vehicle involved in the wreck. But apparently police did have to reportedly put down stop sticks to try to stop the vehicle, and then ultimately it hit a guardrail seemingly on the I-480 on-ramp going east to southbound, here on Cumming. Again, Cumming is still closed between 27th and 29th. The accident investigation continues here. Not much new as they keep investigating what exactly happened, how the car ended up hitting that guardrail, and no other vehicles involved. But again, there was only one person in the vehicle. They did take them into custody. We did see that happening about an hour and 20 minutes ago at this point. But again, police have Cumming blocked off between 27th and 29th Street here on the I-480 underpass on Cumming Street. Matt, we'll send it back to you.
Good info there, Jake. Again, we're just recapping everything that happened around 11 a.m. We are told that an inmate, a 22-year-old man, escaped out of the Pottawattamie County Jail in some kind of transport van. From there, we're told that in the process, one deputy may have been shot in the neck. We are told that deputy was taken to Creighton Hospital in critical condition. 2 others injured. They are currently at Nebraska Medicine in fair condition. From there, you're seeing the scene near 25th and I. That white transport van is what the suspect ditched in the area. From there, we're told that there was a carjacking, and from there, a black Nissan was driven into Omaha, kind of where a chase started from that point with that black vehicle.
That's right. Chase ensued at one point about 80 miles an hour going down Cumming Street, which is a 30-mile-an-hour road. It ended with a wreck at I-480 at Cumming Street. There you see the Nissan Altima, the black sedan. That was apparently the carjacking car that the suspect carjacked and then eventually put it into at least like a concrete divider right there at 480 at Cumming Street, and then taken into custody. Wesley Correa Carminati is the suspect, 22 years old. He was sentenced to 45 years in jail earlier today for his part in a fatal shooting death of Anthony Walker back in March of 2016. He was found guilty of attempted murder, 2 charges of second-degree robbery, and also voluntary manslaughter. This all started at the Pottawattamie County Jail about 11 o'clock this morning, and that's where we find Shantae Passmore with the very latest there. Shantae, any breaking developments since we last spoke?
Matt, Emily, this investigation is still underway. Of course, they're going to take their time. They're really going to fine-tooth comb this and just see what happened leading up into this escape right now. Not too long ago, we just saw a team of forensics as well as crime labs show up to this area. And the focal point of this investigation, of course, we've been mentioning all morning long, it's really that garage, that back doorway over there. And we can see the team making their way over across our shot right there. But again, they're just canvassing the area and just assessing the damage. Of course, there's still a contractor on standby. No one is allowed to really go into that area because, again, this is an active crime scene area. You know, the timeline not very long, but the crime scene very large and very wide, starting, of course, from the Pottawattamie County Jail, leading up into where Lynn's is at, near 25th and Nash there, and of course where Jake's at, and then where Andrea's at Nebraska Med, getting the latest update conditions as far as how those deputies, those people who are injured, are doing right now. But this all started, of course, a little bit past 11 o'clock, as we've been reporting this morning. Started off as an active shooter situation. At one point, there was some sort of, of an overcome of an obstacle situation where the inmate was able to overpower perhaps the deputy of some sort, distraction, gain access to this transport vehicle and make his getaway, his escape right now. Inmates, I should say, rather. But right now, that's just been the focal point right now, securing the area, the crime scene, and of course securing this facility, because as long as that door is still wide open, that's going to be a major concern for staff. Right now, the safety, they're concerned for staff as well as for the other inmates right now. But it's just a lot of moving pieces here right now. Of course, the Pottawattamie County Sheriff's Office the deputies are taking the lead in this investigation. But hand in hand, side by side, obviously, we've got the Council Bluffs Police Department, Iowa DCI is out here, the Division of Criminal Investigation. And not too long ago, I just saw an Iowa State patrol car out here as well. We're seeing unmarked vehicles right now. It's really almost embodying the old adage, all hands on deck kind of a situation, because a lot of manpower is needed right now, especially whenever you have deputies involved in a shooting of some sort. But it's all started again as an active shooter. We had heard reports of someone receiving a gunshot wound to the neck area right now. And so whenever you're dealing with a situation like that, you really want to dot your I's and cross your T's and really assess how this all unfolded right here, Matt, Emily.
Good recap there, Shantae. Thanks for that. We're told that the suspect from the Pottawattamie County Jail then drove that transport van, that he somehow busted out of that garage in that van. He then drove that to this area you're looking at, North 25th in Avenue I/G area. That white van is what he drove. Reporter Lindsay Thies is live in that area. I know she talked to some witnesses earlier kind of about what they heard. It probably was shocking to see all these cop cars and patrol cars come down their somewhat quiet neighborhood in the middle of the afternoon. Lindsay, what could you tell us? Do you have an update from the scene there?
Yeah, that's right, Emily. Like you mentioned, quite a lot of excitement and really scary for some of the residents in this very quiet neighborhood. I'm going to take a step out of the way so you can see really what Council Bluffs police are focusing on in their investigation here at North 25th and I Street. As you heard Shantae mention, there are a lot of moving pieces to this investigation and to this story, and we're still just kind of learning, the details, even though this unfolded, almost a couple of hours ago now. That this is definitely something that's going to take a while to investigate. Out here you can see at least 3 police officers for Council Bluffs Police Department kind of over on some survey equipment. They've been taking a lot of photos, some video. At one point we saw a drone that was up flying as well, kind of snapping different shots and images of this intersection. Obviously you can see all the police crime tape roped off, and it is focusing on that white van, that white transport vehicle that we believe that the suspect had gotten a hold of and had used as a means of escape from the Pottawattamie County Jail, and then dumped it or ditched it here. And, you know, we know kind of where the rest of the story goes from that point. As we've been out today, I've been talking to, again, a couple of neighbors, and you can see, you know, white picket fences, green lawns. This is a very quiet neighborhood in Council Bluffs. Definitely, you know, I'm not sure anyone expects to wake up on a Monday morning to Iowa State Patrol racing down their neighborhood, but that was exactly what happened here. One woman I spoke with said that, you know, the neighbors were calling each other. They were telling each other to lock their doors and stay inside. They had also been, you know, they had gotten a call, you know, warning them that someone was in the area that was armed and dangerous. We understand at some point we had heard reports that police were searching for a man in a yellow jumpsuit or wearing yellow you know, pants. So that was, you know, part of the search as well. But obviously, we know at this point that that suspect has been apprehended as they made their pursuit into Omaha. As far as what neighbors are saying around here, they're still a little shaken up, but they're very glad that they can come out of their homes and feel safe right now. We're reporting live at North 25th Street and in Council Bluffs. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Lindsay, thank you very much. This just in, Council Bluffs Mayor Matt Walsh has confirmed there will be a 4:30 news conference just a couple hours from now, breaking down all of this and giving you the latest details. So once again, Council Bluffs Mayor Matt Walsh announcing a news conference for 4:30 this afternoon. Obviously, we will have that for you right here on 3 News Now. Of course, after the suspect, Wesley Correa Carminati, ditched that prison van, there was a carjacking. He carjacked a black Nissan Altima and a victim and eventually got to 30th and Laurel. That's where apparently Correa Carminati dropped off the victim and then continued on a high-speed pursuit, being followed by Omaha Police, Nebraska State Patrol, and eventually it ended up in a wreck near Cumming and I-480. There you see the black sedan, the Nissan Altima, kind of cracked up into a concrete divider there, and that's where we find our Jake Wazikowski with the very latest right there from I-480 and Cumming. Jake, anything new there?
Well, Matt, yeah, we're live out here. The only thing new that has happened, we just saw the forensics investigation van come out here. The crime lab van just showed up on scene. And what they're going to be doing is they'll be possibly photographing, documenting the vehicle inside and out, because obviously the criminal nature of what happened out here today, and not only just an accident investigation, crash investigation to recreate that, but also the crime of fleeing police, leading police on a chase here in the Omaha, Douglas County area. So again, they just got out here. They're going to come out here again, most likely start photographing the vehicle, which we can't see right now because it's a little farther up on the ramp, on that 480 east and southbound ramp, and that could be used in the criminal prosecution against the suspect here. But again, police said that there was only one person in the vehicle. He was taken into custody immediately once the vehicle was stopped here on the on-ramp. The crime lab will also not only take photographs, they might have to take any DNA samples they find, fingerprinting as well, but most likely photograph the vehicle before it's taken away by the tow truck. More than an hour ago, the suspect was taken into custody. Right here we saw him being taken away as we showed up on scene here. Grabbing some bags for evidence there as well. Obviously they'll photograph that evidence, then you wear rubber gloves, put the evidence in the evidence bags before the vehicle is taken away on a tow truck. So that's kind of the new thing that's been happening out here just over the last few minutes as they continue to do a thorough investigation to make sure it can be prosecuted fully with the entire bag of evidence, whether it be photographs, DNA, or actual things taken from inside the vehicle. As you see the crime lab technician right there with a camera getting ready to photograph the inside and outside of the vehicle. So again, that's what's happening out here at about 27th, 28th and Cumming on the I-480 east and southbound on-ramp, guys. I'll send it back to you.
Jake talked to some people actually on scene there who say they witnessed this crazy chase going on down Cumming Street. We're actually going to listen to what they had to say about what they saw out there.
Basically just a whole bunch of cops chasing this black car down Cummings, and we're wondering what was going on.
We didn't really know what happened. We were just sitting in the car, and then we look over and we hear sirens, and a black car comes flying down the street, and then 10 cops are chasing after it.
It was definitely an action movie kind of moment, that's for sure. It was just unreal. We saw at first we were like, oh, there's only 5 cops, must be nothing too big. Then, you know, the undercover started showing up, and it was like, well, what's going on here?
Those were some witnesses who saw this black Nissan allegedly driven by the suspect before it crashed around 11:30. Before that, this is the suspect. We're told 22-year-old Wesley Correa Carminati. Around 11 o'clock, authorities tell us that 3 people at the jail, employees of the jail, we're told maybe 1 deputy was shot, 2 others were injured. We're going to go out to reporter Megan Stewart, who is at Creighton Hospital with more information on the deputy in critical condition. What could you tell us about that?
Yep, Emily, we can confirm, like you were saying, 1 person was brought here to Creighton University Medical Center. And once again, we can confirm that a Pottawattamie County deputy is here in critical condition. We are expecting some more details to be released here shortly. But once again, a Pottawattamie deputy here at Creighton University in critical condition at Creighton University Hospital. Excuse me, you can follow us on air. We'll continue to give you updates here and online at 3newsnow.com as well. Emily, back to you.
Good info there, Megan. As she said, a deputy is in critical condition there. This is the suspect. Police tell us Wesley Correa Carminati. 2 other people were told by authorities were taken to Nebraska Medicine. They are in fair condition right now. We are told that today Wesley Correa Carminati was sentenced to 45 years in jail. We're kind of just going to go through a timeline for those of you just now joining us. Around 11 a.m., authorities say this man on your screen, 22-year-old Wesley Correa Carminati at the Pottawattamie County Jail, somehow escaped. We're told that he may have escaped via a transport van. As we've been showing you, the garage is pretty much gone there at the Pottawattamie County Jail. That happened at 11 a.m. From there, authorities tell us he crashed or ditched this transport van he was in near 25th and I. That's where Lindsay Thies is actually live right now talking about seeing this. If we could listen into that, that would be great out there near North 25th and Avenue I.
I could tell he was nervous, so I said, go around the tape, go directly home, and you'll be okay. And he hugged me. And then the other little girl just kind of looked at me like, okay, lady, who are you? And it was okay. Yeah. But I just, like I said, I was just worried about the kids.
How did you find out initially? Did you get a phone call or what?
No, I had the television on, and it started, and then I realized 25th and I is right close to me. And I was just worried. A little bit, but then... Well, they have the man and everything. I think is under control.
Yeah. The other thing we're hearing is that, and we don't know the conditions right now, but that 3 deputies were hurt. Do you have any words for them or their family or anything?
I would just say, well, I have all the respect in the world for any policeman. My brother-in-law was a highway patrolman, and I'll just keep them all in my prayers. That's what I'd say to the families, and just have faith in God.
So I can get right. Can you spell your first and last name?
Alma, A-L-M-A.
Okay, that's where the suspect, Wesley Correa Carminati, allegedly performed a carjacking. It was a black Nissan Altima, and then took the victim down to 30th and Laurel, where that victim apparently and allegedly was let go. Then a chase ensued. Nebraska authorities allegedly picked up Wesley Correa Carminati, where eventually a wreck happened at I-480 at Cumming Street, and that was the end of the crash. Then Correa Carminati was taken into custody. We go now to Shante Passmore, who's live back at the start of this entire ordeal at the Pottawattamie County Jail. What do you see there now, Shante?
Matt, it's a lot of the same thing that we've been seeing all morning long. This is a very active investigation, well underway. Not too long ago, we just saw forensics as well as a crime lab team make their way over here. As I mentioned, securing the crime scene is very important, but also securing this facility. It's a very important thing right now for Pottawattamie County Sheriff's Office right now. And that contractor who's here to repair the door or just to change it out is on standby, because as long as that crime tape's up there right now, investigators have to really fine-comb every single detail as far as what led up to this breakout right now. We're going in more than a couple of hours right now. This all unfolded a little bit after 11 o'clock. We heard reports of an active shooter situation, and somewhere in the midst of all of that, that's when we also heard of an outbreak of some sort of jailbreak, and the mode of transportation was the transport vehicle. And right now they're just really trying to see how this all unfolded. Basically a wild chase throughout Council Bluffs. I know Lynn's is not too far from me. I'm here near 16th and Nash. She's a bit away, probably around 25th and Nash, around that area. And they had a perimeter set up over there when they thought they had seen the inmates in that area. Shortly after they had broken it all down, the pursuit led into the Omaha area, of course, where we've got a full team over there with Jake, as well as Andrea, getting an update conditions with the people who have been reported injured. But yes, we heard through the scanner that there was a report of a man in his 30s with a gunshot wound to his neck. And whenever there's a severe situation like that involving obviously deputies and those of in the law enforcement agency, a greater care is going to be taken to this investigation right now. We've, of course, got the Pottawattamie County Sheriff's Office taking the lead on this investigation. Hand in hand, side by side, is the Council Bluffs Police Department. Not too long ago, I just saw Iowa State Patrol here. We're seeing unmarked vehicles here. We are also seeing Iowa DCI, the Division of Criminal Investigation here, perhaps doing an internal investigation as they're doing a criminal investigation out here with Pottawattamie County Sheriff's Office here, Matt and Emily. But right now, a very active scene right now.
All right, Shante, thanks so much for that. Great information there. Of course, the critically injured deputy was taken to Creighton. There are also 2 other injuries, both in fair condition, in Nebraska Medicine. That's where they're being handled. So 2 potential deputies in fair condition. We're not sure if they're deputies, but the other one is a deputy now in Creighton University Hospital in critical condition. So essentially, the suspect, Wesley Correa Carminati, allegedly took a van from that prison and then went down to North 25 and I, where there was a carjacking. Again, this is all alleged. It was a Nissan Altima, a black sedan. And then Carminati allegedly took the victim down to 30th and Laurel, where the victim was dropped off, and then a high-speed pursuit ensued with Nebraska Patrol, and eventually a wreck at I-480 at Cumming, and that's where the suspect, Wesley Correa Carminati, was apprehended.